What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Untitled Political Stream, the single most important political stream in the history of YouTube. And I guarantee that this will be the most viewed Thursday Untitled Political Stream on D-Day Cobra all day long. We're going to break records today. That's what we're doing. We're putting LeBron statistics out there. We're doing it all. That's how it is. How you doing, Ryan? I haven't seen you in at least 30 minutes, Ryan.
Yeah, it's been a while. I made a Sports Wars video about LeBron, actually, in the time that we haven't seen each other since we were last on stream, so that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, man.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
And we have Suresh from 221B Tactical and the Situation with Suresh. How you doing, buddy?
Doing amazing. It's always a pleasure to be back, and of course, always some interesting topics. I mean, we don't even have enough time today to talk about all the stuff that's actually going on, but we'll do our best for the people.
Yes, we will. And I see all of the 199s in the chat. I see the Clamshell Coalition. I've already talked to Suresh. I've been traveling last couple days. I got to get all of this stuff over to him so we can get some merch, because you guys have been screaming my head off about 199 merch, all this other stuff. It's going to be awesome. So stay tuned for that. Looking forward to it. But we only have 1 hour today because we all are busy. So we're going to jump right into the topics. And the first thing I want to talk about was Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh was hacked. Now, on the surface, a lot of people have been hacked. A lot of their phones have been hacked or whatever. That happens. This was next level. This wasn't just a Twitter account, though. This wasn't just someone that logged into his Twitter account. So essentially, this was right before Tuesday Night's Main Event started. Ryan noticed that Matt Walsh had tweeted out some interesting, pronouns. Yeah. Some interesting pronouns. And
I thought it actually was Matt Walsh, to be honest. I was convinced that it was just like a really edgy Matt Walsh tweet. I was like, holy shit, he's testing Twitter's terms of service here. So my pronouns are that N-word. Yeah. And I was like, hey, that's pretty based.
Yeah.
I retweeted it immediately.
That's pretty based.
It's pretty based. And then it followed with a lot of other things about Ben Shapiro, bad things about Shapiro, bad things about Joe Rogan, a lot of other stuff. And it was clear that he had been hacked. But not only was his Twitter account hacked, his entire phone was basically mimicked. And they got into every single thing. And just to give just so people understand just a little bit of a context there, I'll play this clip from Ben Shapiro from the Daily Wire, just a little bit right here. This is his video. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Last night, my friend Matt Walsh was hacked. His phone was hacked. Apparently, somebody actually duplicated his SIM card. There are only a couple of ways in which that can happen, as far as I understand. One is that somebody actually physically got access to Matt's phone. The other is that somebody actually mimicked Matt to the phone company and had them send a duplicate SIM card. In any case, late last night, people started tweeting out from Matt Walsh's Twitter account a bunch of just vile kind of garbage. It was all shut down pretty quickly. But the important thing to recognize about the radical left trans movement particularly is just how aggressive they are. When I say aggressive, I don't mean like aggressive in their point of view. They are. But I mean aggressive as in they will cross any line in order to go after people they consider to be their enemies.
And that's kind of the gist of it in terms of like Matt Walsh has made Matt Walsh is pretty much public enemy number one to the trans movement after his What Is a Woman, documentary that blew up and had rave reviews across the board. Obviously, he's had speaking arrangements that's been completely shut down by protesters. And this story has gotten to be a lot bigger than just what seemed to be a Twitter account that was hacked. Now it's far more wide-reaching than that. And then we started to get the news that there was a Wired reporter involved. Wired writer suspended from Twitter after using platform to solicit and receive Matt Walsh's hacked materials. And it just keeps getting now. So this is Del Cameron, and this is the tweet. Prove me wrong, kids. Send me Matt Walsh DMs too. And that was his email address. Now, I saw Tim Pool talk about this, and he said that he knows Del Cameron. Tim Pool's words, not mine. He pretty directly said that he believes that Del Cameron is either involved in this directly or indirectly with the actual hacking. And then he showed an old account that this Del Cameron guy operated under. essentially promoting all his hacking stuff. And his reasoning for Dell to go into the comment section was to basically absolve himself from having the information by saying it was sent to me by this tweet. That's Tim Pool's stance on it. That's a pretty heavy accusation to make. But here it is. Del Cameron, a senior, let's say a leftist senior reporter from Wired, used Twitter to solicit stolen information belonging to Matt Walsh, who was hacked last night. So that's from Andy No. Spoke with the hacker who says he compromised Matt Walsh's account and who was unable to, I'm reading it, I know you can't see it on there, but who was unable to supply some convincing proof they'd gained access to his personal email account. What the hell? This is only getting crazier. But before we jump full into the statement, because there's so many layers to this right now. This is my favorite part of the whole story. Wired statement on Del Cameron's permanent Twitter suspension. Wired learned Wednesday afternoon that senior reporter Del Cameron's Twitter account was permanently suspended after he reported on Matt Walsh's Twitter account being hacked. Neither Del's story nor his Twitter feed contained the hacked materials. We do not believe his account violated Twitter's policy. This is the best part. We have not received any further explanation from Twitter. Our attempts to reach Twitter's press office were met with the customary poop emoji. We asked that the account be reinstated and that Twitter provide an explanation. So Twitter only responded with the poop emoji.
How amazing is that?
So that is all right. So Elon changed. Tweeted this out like a month ago.
Yes,
he tweeted out that from now on, like Twitter's thing will only be responding with an automated message of a poop emoji. And that's actually what happened to Wired. So,
how amazing is that? That's so amazing.
So the mainstream outlets went from having all of this power and all of this influence to they have nothing anymore. But bringing it back to Matt Walsh, again, we've seen people get hacked on Twitter 1,000 times, and and it's funny. Yeah. This is like, from what I understand, they have the hackers gained access to his emails for like the last 10 years or whatever. They got everything from what I understand. This is a bad situation. Phone being, I guess, the SIM card being mimicked, which to me, that seems like the most believable scenario, that the SIM card was mimicked and they just, so what do you guys think about this? This is wild.
It's weird to me that for something that seems like it's pretty intense in terms of what they got access to, all these things they got access to, it seems strange to me, the tweets that they would send out. Like, one, if you have access to all that stuff, I wouldn't even like tweet out these jokes or whatever. I would just like look through all this stuff and like try to get as much information as I could about Matt Walsh. I wouldn't advertise the world I did it. And then if I was going to tweet out things, I wouldn't tweet out kind of tame things like that account tweeted out. Just be like, oh, Joe Rogan's a pedophile. Ben Shapiro's a homosexual. Like, it seems like just super amateur stuff. Mm-hmm. So a lot of things don't add up for me. It would not surprise me if they were able to clone a SIM card in a way. But again, that takes some pretty advanced stuff, unless you actually get Matt's phone in your hand for a while. But there are ways you can do it, just being in proximity of a phone. But the normal person doesn't have access to that stuff. The idea that Tim would put out that this reporter may have done it intentionally. Tim's been in these left-wing media spaces. That's how he got his start, right? So it makes sense that he knows a lot of these people and know that they might do something like that. However, it just seems like that's Tim's guess. The Daily Wire, as much shit as they get, and rightly so sometimes, I actually think they do a lot of good in general. They do far more good than bad, in my opinion, even if I don't agree necessarily with them a lot of the time. They are under attack right now from a lot of different places, whether it's speaking engagements, whether it's, I think Brett Cooper got deplatformed on TikTok or whatever. So it's definitely showing there are a lot of people there with a target on their back, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Suresh?
Well, from a law enforcement perspective, you see this happen from time to time, and people report, someone hacked my child's Instagram account or what have you. But it's very similar to what you saw happen with like teenagers. They gain access and they like just do juvenile stuff, and you would think that when you're dealing with someone, let me say Matt Walsh's status, like Ryan pointed out, it was almost like silly, like a kid hacked it and said, oh, let me just like throw these tweets out there that, like, you know, clearly, I mean, if you have access to someone's phone like that, you're going through the DMs. Let me find some DMs that could be damaging to his reputation, where he's saying something, you know, really, really bad, and let me screenshot those and, you know, do that. You would think that would be their intention. It wasn't here. So it is a little bizarre, as Ryan stated, just, you know, who did this and the manner in which they went about it. But it goes to show you, in this day and age, especially with the, let me say, the demographic that is now going against Matt Walsh, they are no holds barred, and they will go to any length and do anything. We've seen them physically attack people. I mean, we saw the video. Most people have seen the video. The swimmer was Riley something.
Riley Gaines.
Riley Gaines. Yeah, you know, they literally attacked her, tried to, you know, corner her. I mean, this is really, really scary. And, you know, now you have to think about people who are high level like this, you know, people like Matt Walsh, you know, people like Ben Shapiro, all these people, like, what do you got to do? Like, walk around with their phones in an RFID case when they go out in public? Because that's typically how it happens.
And Matt,
to clone a phone is not easy.
And Matt Walsh, from what Shapiro said, like, he's had now, Matt Walsh at this point in time, I guess for the past year, has had around the clock security now. Like he and his family facing threats constantly. And it's wild, man. It really is pretty damn scary to think about. And
look what happened in Nashville, where the Daily Wire's based. I can imagine that there's been a lot of threats towards Matt Walsh's life. And to me, the tweets are weird, because if I did that, if I got control of someone's account and I wanted to make them look as bad as possible or be outlandish, I wouldn't tweet the soft A, right? I'd tweet the hard R. I'd say, like, exactly. All blank, I want to kill all blank. I would go hard if you were trying to do something like that, instead of these kind of just like, Joe Rogan's a pedo. Like, I don't, it seems like 8th grade your shit. I don't know.
Yeah, it was very juvenile, very odd. That's what makes me seem like I don't know. I mean, if someone who had true ill intent had access, they would have done some serious damage. It's a wake up call. I say this very lightly, but I think Matt Walsh got lucky here because of what happened and just how juvenile and light they took it. But this is a wake up call for a lot. I mean, name me one person who is on that liberal side, on that, let me say anyone who is in a left wing, speaker. Look at, I don't know, who am I going to say? Don Lemon or any of these people. Do they have 24/7 security? Is there a need for that? Are there crazy people from the right, threatening their lives, threatening their families, threatening their homes? And I have never heard that from anyone on that side. But you look at this side, you see people like Matt Walsh, you see Tucker Carlson, you see all these people. They have to have this like security contingent around them. Why? Now, why? Just that alone tells you a lot. That alone tells you a lot.
Go ahead. My worry, just real quick, my worry about a lot of this stuff is actually kind of them finding that Matt Walsh did one thing wrong, that Matt Walsh cheated on his wife, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, and that's all it takes. And he could have made one mistake 9 years ago, and that could destroy, his entire image and everything. And I think that's probably what these people are trying to do. Like they're looking for anything, since they can't attack the actual argument. They can't attack the argument of biology and someone simply stating it to them in a matter-of-fact way with no sympathy towards them. They're going to try to take down the person.
And this whole pro-trans movement is being pushed by the mainstream, pushed by Hollywood, pushed by the Democrats, and now even got Mr. Beast involved in this whole thing. It's not slowing down. It's only getting more and more intense. I think Tucker Carlson said it's the fastest growing religion in the world. I think that's what Tucker called it. You know what I mean? And that's a very, very accurate way to look at it. And the momentum is just wild, man. How quickly we went from Black Lives Matter to respect women to, men are women and women get out of your own sport. It's just so crazy. It's just a snowball effect. And I don't know, man. I mean, I hope everything gets worked out with Matt Walsh. I do think that Ryan's concern right there is valid. Is like one thing can just destroy his entire image. Yeah. And I think that's the motivation behind it. But then you have these reporters involved in the whole story, and they're obsessed with it too. It's like, man, these people, the fact that Wired even has this guy hired, you know what I mean, with his shady ass past, and it just shows you like most of these media outlets are full of leftist weirdos that have no line of decency they won't cross. And scary stuff, man. I mean, look, it's Linus Tech Tips got hacked like a month ago. You know what I mean? Linus Tech Tips. He's one of the biggest YouTubers on the platform, and he's a tech junkie, and he got hacked. Matt Walsh has been hacked. We've seen people. I've been hacked a long time ago. I got hacked by my own stupidity. There is so many opportunities out there, and so many people trying to take other people down for whatever reason. And people have to
Hunter
be
Biden
scared.
had his laptop hacked. Well, not really.
Where's Hunter? Where's Hunter? That's what I keep being. We might as well just play that clip. There's not a whole lot to discuss on, but this was Trump just uploaded this video. Like, it's just so damn funny. All he did. This is all the video is. It's literally it.
Where's Hunter?
That's it.
That's it.
That's the whole clip.
That's not an edit. That's an actual Trump release.
No, yeah, so Trump on True Social just posted about 12 different videos that are anywhere from like 10 seconds long to a minute and a half, and that was one of them. And it was just he put it on Instagram too.
Where's Hunter?
That's amazing. That is amazing. That's it. That should have a zillion views.
God.
Can you believe Joe took him to Ireland with him?
Yeah.
He was in Ireland, like being paraded around. I'm like, and like, that had to have been a fake crowd, right? Did you see the video? That had to have been a fake crowd.
I didn't see the video.
The video was just like all these Irish folks just out there, like screaming, chanting, like they were at like a football match. And I'm like, this has to be fake. This has to be fake. This has to be staged. This has to be paid. I don't even know. It was bizarre. Someone memed it as if he was coming out for a WWE match, and it was amazing.
It's so awesome. Actually, since I pulled that up, I showed this last night, and I don't think this video gets enough recognition from back in the day. Now, I know everybody remembers when Trump kind of pushes past those guys with the NATO stuff. You remember that, when he pushes his way to the front of the crowd? You remember that, Ryan?
Yeah,
but
yes, 100%.
When he dressed them all down, do you remember that? Like in the speech, like he just
so. Yeah.
Like it's only like a minute long video, but I played this last night and I was reminded of it. This is such a great moment.
Was this at like the G20 or something? What was this?
Yeah, this was like that at that big NATO summit or whatever.
Okay, was it a NATO summit? Okay.
I think it was NATO.
Get out of the fucking way. And then the coat fix.
Yeah.
NATO, okay.
Oh my goodness.
I have been very, very direct with Secretary Stoltenberg and members of the alliance in saying that NATO members must finally contribute their fair share and meet their financial obligations.
I love the look on their faces.
But 23 of the 28 member nations are still not paying what they should be paying and what they are supposed to be paying for their defense. This is not fair to the people and taxpayers of the United States. And many of these nations owe massive amounts of money from past years and not paying in those past years. Over the last 8 years, the United States spent more on defense than all other NATO countries combined. If all NATO members had spent just 2% of their GDP on defense last year, we would have had another $119 billion for our collective defense and for the financing of additional NATO reserves.
Look at those faces. I love it, dude.
They're all so uncomfortable. They're like, oh God, is he talking to me? He's talking to me.
Yes.
Angela Merkel is like,
good.
who gave this guy the podium?
They're like, God dang it.
That to me was one of the absolute best things about Trump, was attempting to hold a lot of these foreign leaders' feet to the fire in terms of our allies, or the people that are supposed to be our allies, who are raking us over the coals, whether they're agreeing to all this fucking green energy nonsense and bullshit that are handicapping themselves, whether it's us paying for all of their fucking defense. That is something that is one of my favorite things about Trump and one of the best successes of his presidency.
Yep, 100%. I love that dude, man.
The issue there is he was telling no lie. That's the problem. That's the problem. That was the biggest problem. He was speaking the truth. No one could counter a single word he said in that clip. No one could counter it because he was speaking the truth. They all knew it. That the look on their faces said it all. He was right. They're guilty of not paying their fair share. And of course, he's the bad guy for speaking the truth. Like, that's what it is today. If you speak up facts and the truth, they don't say, oh, well, hold on, wait a second, let's take a look at what he's saying here. It's the guy who's saying it. He's the bad guy. It's like with this Jack Teixeira kid, the Mass Air National Guard, who did the Pentagon leak. Everyone's going after. Oh, it looks like he likes guns and Legos, but what a crazy guy. Well, hold on, like, what? Can we talk about what he released and the ramifications of that? No. You can't talk about the facts he released. You got to just attack him. He's the bad guy for releasing it. And that was the story of Trump. He's speaking the truth, speaking the facts, and they just attacked him, and they never talked about what he's saying. Did anyone stand up and say, "Hold on, wait, are they not paying their fair share? Is he right here? Why aren't they? Why is the U.S. paying?" And no one did that. No one did that.
Nope. And this is what he's been talking about this shit for years, about just being ripped off by these countries. And again, that's why, like, Obama was so bad with how he bent over for the rest of the world and just apologized for the United States of America his entire time. And then, I mean, Joe Biden, again, does anybody really believe he's an actual president? The man doesn't know where he's at. He's not running things. He is not making decisions. He's just, this is literally like Weekend at Bernie's, which is terrifying to think about, but it's the reality of it. Let me get a couple of these super chats really quick.
I would just say one little improvement maybe that I would love is, instead of just, going after in terms of like the European Union countries or people like that, I'd also love to see some of that same energy for Israel. In terms of the amount of money we spend on defense for Israel every single year. So.
The thing Trump has to improve more than anything is his personnel choices.
Yeah,
because they are bad.
And that's one thing I'm actually really worried about for this upcoming race, is who are the people surrounding Trump, who's advising him, and because it just. It's right out there in the open. The influencer war between Trump and DeSantis is, I think, just bad for everybody right now. And I think it's bad. I think it's doing damage to a lot of people when we need some unity, to be honest.
Hey, that's why DeSantis needs to fall in line and just understand he's not the man. That
there
does
you go.
The trick right there. That's it, though.
No one.
He literally said in his acceptance speech, "Thank you, President Trump, for sticking with me when few people would, when it wasn't the smart thing to do. Thank you for sticking with me." That's what he said.
There you go. 1000%. I would like to see an actual thing between DeSantis and Trump, instead of a lot of people who are clearly being paid by both sides to like have this war on social media. That's what I don't like. The people that are clearly in the DeSantis camp now that are tweeting about Trump all the time, and the people who are clearly on the Trump team that are attacking DeSantis all the time. Like that shit I think is really fucking bad.
I said it last night on CobraCast. I said there's a lot of commentators that are going to benefit big time by a Trump DeSantis war.
Yeah.
By their channels.
Yes.
I will, but I would rather not. I would rather it just understand who the guy with the juice is, fall behind. But for me, oh my God, I'm going to benefit massively from a Trump DeSantis fight. And a lot of these commentators keep riding the fence and they want that fight because they're going to benefit massively. They're going to get millions and millions of concurrent viewers, and it's going to benefit them massively. So, like Ben Shapiro, who, Mr. Anti-Trump, but like benefited massively from the Trump 2016 run. And then through Trump's entire presidency, Ben Shapiro saw the biggest growth he's ever seen for his company ever. So I don't know.
A lot of people did. People did. Yeah,
yes.
They used that and they rode that wave. They rode it and they rode it all the way to the bank.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, yeah, it will be good for us, as creators. I just think it's not going to be good for the country, but we'll see. We got golden nuggets for 20. Finally got some money, so I thought I'd show appreciation. Well, thank you, man. I hope you're doing well. I know you're going through some stuff a while back, so I hope you're doing well, and I really appreciate that. Ant Box says, Ryan, I hope you don't mind me roasting you on the last live stream. If anything, I think Jeremy looks like he could pass for an elementary schooler with that baby face.
I don't remember what you said, so thank you.
I think that was the one that said you looked older than me. I think I can tell you point blank, none of us care about being roasted. That's what we're here for, especially if you pay us money.
Yeah, I don't think Jeremy looks old or younger than me. He looks younger than he actually is, but I don't think he looks younger than me.
I don't think I do. I don't know. I never thought I looked younger than Ryan. Although I do look happier than Ryan because I am happier because Ryan's always angry.
I'm just trying to not get any wrinkles. Yeah, I try to stay looking young. That's why I never smile.
That's right.
Ear Elephant says, in the new Little Mermaid remake, Ariel comes to the surface not for love, but to find groceries since her local sea marts were destroyed by looters. God damn.
Oh, God, that is brutal. That is brutal.
I shared somebody's Jeremy, you remember that screenshot I shared with you about a comment I got about like new lyrics for The Little Mermaid?
Yeah. Yes. Holy shit, that was good. Chef Nick Nero with the poop emoji, thank you. Jay's Soggy Taint for $1.99, thank you. Chef Nick Nero, please leave a message after the poop. Darth Gavel, maybe the hacker intention was his DMs, but they got nothing to use on him. Plan B, childish jokes. That's not a bad theory. It's not a bad theory at all. I'll be your Huckleberry.
I would have started DMing people. Like if I was gonna do that to somebody, I just think there's like so many other ways you can make somebody actually look bad.
Me too.
Like,
me too.
And then send out those tweets.
That's why I think I'm with you, Ryan. I think it was almost like it seems so juvenile, like to have that power and to break into that, and you just send out those stupid. Something's weird.
I would send like if I were trying to destroy this person, I'd send out these like fucking flirty DMs or something to conservative influencers, like female conservative influencers, like shit like that. That's what I would do if I was trying to fucking wreck somebody, if I had control of their Twitter account like that. But I don't know.
Yeah. It's the
or just the N-word, one or the other.
Straight up.
This is for our next topic, but what are your thoughts on Vivek? Is that how you say it? I'm 100% for Trump, but Vivek seems smart. He could give Trump and Ron DeSantis a run on the debate stage. On that point, I want to play this clip. Have you seen this clip of him and Don Lemon, Suresh?
Yeah, I think Don Lemon was reaching like big time here, but Don Lemon is now, of course, the whitest black guy on the planet, lives in an all white neighborhood, lives like he doesn't live within like 20 miles of a black person. Now in this moment, he's like trying to like get on his high horse about his black. Come on, man. Like, okay. But anyway, play the clip. It's actually embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It is, and I do think that I personally, me and Ryan were just talking about this, and we agree 100%. Vivek is like he's just trying to be Trump's VP.
He's just trying to do good things for Trump.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing. This is not a serious presidential like candidate. His entire purpose is to, through like platforming himself for president, is to do things that benefit Donald Trump. Yeah, that's what 100%. As soon as I saw him announce this, that's what I've thought. Doesn't mean he's not saying great things or very, a very good speaking and confronting people like Don Lemon and holding their feet to the fire. This was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that before you play the clip, do you think he would make a good VP choice for Trump?
I would like him. I mean, based on what I've seen, I can't say I know a ton about him, but the little bit I've seen, he's very well spoken. He's very on point. I like the points he's making, and he's obviously a Trump guy. And that's one thing. Like Mike Pence, did we ever, think Mike Pence was a Trump guy? No, you know what I mean.
Not at all.
Mike Pence was the very stereotypical vice president pick. What your vice president is supposed to do for the voting population is to anything that people are a little bit worried about when it comes to you, it's supposed to offset that. Right. So when it came to Donald Trump, okay, this guy's never held political office before. Let's get and he's kind of a little bit fucking crazy and nuts in terms of how he goes after people, very energetic, very angry. So let's get the opposite of that. Let's get somebody who has been there, done that, who's been a governor, who's been in the House, who has been around a long time, who understands everything, but is also very even keel, even tempered, doesn't get upset about things. In the same way that, Barack Obama, incredibly inexperienced, very young. Well, let's partner him with Joe Biden, who has known everybody, who's been around forever, to make people feel okay with that inexperience because he has somebody like Joe Biden, there to bounce things off. That's what a vice president pick is supposed to do in theory.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. But this is going to be a whole different ball game with Trump. Like outside of DeSantis, I don't see a VP that actually turns the needle for Trump. You know what I mean? Like in either direction.
Carrie Lake.
I don't think she turns it. I think she's just more Trump. Like it doesn't. Yeah. She's not going to earn him any more support. Or
oh no, you're right. Because everyone on board with her is on board with him.
Right. You're right.
Like I think she could be the pick, but I don't think it does anything for him.
Yeah, it doesn't turn the needle from a standpoint of that. Yeah, I like Carrie Lake. Yeah, I like her as the pick, but I think DeSantis is the only option that obviously isn't an option, but in theory he could be an option. He's the only guy that could actually turn the needle from a VP standpoint that Trump could pick, but I don't think that's going to happen at this point in time. All right, here we go.
War was fought for black people to have freedoms in this country. Yeah. Actually, that's why the Civil War was fought.
Okay.
And the sad part about it,
fought for black people to have guns. I think.
Actually, funny fact is black people did not get to enjoy the other freedoms until their Second Amendment rights were secured. And I think that's one of the lessons that we learned.
Aren't allowed to enjoy the freedoms.
I disagree with you on that, Don. I disagree with you. And I think you're doing a disservice to our country by failing to recognize the fact that we have equality before the law.
And you live in this country, then you can disagree with me. But we're not. You mentioned that
I disagree.
Three different shades.
Don, I think we have to be able to talk about these issues in the open, regardless of the color of our skin. Black Americans today, to say that, compare that to 1865 and 1964,
I think for you to compare it to 1865 and 1964 is actually, I think it's insulting to black people. It's insulting to me as an African American. I don't want to sit here and argue with you because it's.
Was it insulting when Don Lemon made those 5 points about black people like 8 years ago, and how they need to clean up their communities?
Like they throw trash in the street.
Yeah,
and they
don't pull up their pants.
Yeah,
and
pull
all
up
that.
your pants.
Yeah, like oh my God, Don Lemon's the most pathetic person on the internet. It's absolutely insane how ridiculous he is.
And the idea that if you are not black, you cannot have an opinion on something.
Right. Come on. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That would be like a presidential nominee saying like, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That would never happen.
Like that would never happen. And he's saying this to a guy who's actually darker than him.
That's true.
Like
that is true.
Let's be real. He's actually saying this to someone who's blacker than him. Come on.
For you to put those things together, it's not right. Your telling of history is wrong.
What part of the history was wrong?
What part of the history was wrong? That the Civil War was fought. You're making people think that the Civil War was fought for black people, only for black people to get guns and for black people to
The Civil War was fought for black people in this country to get freedoms, a noble mission. And I think that after we succeeded, we had to actually secure those freedoms.
To reduce it in a speech at the NRA, to say you're making people think, or you're trying to say that black people to get guns, that was the reason that you're there at the NRA. That was the reason for.
Can we kind of appreciate this moment that two men are talking and not allowing the woman to say a word? I think
She's
Ryan,
so uncomfortable.
I think Ryan
knows
really
her skin's way too white to be part of this conversation.
That is it too. Like, that's the oppression Olympics nonsense. Like, so Don Lemon's telling Vivek that you're not black, so you're not allowed to say this, and she's sitting there wanting to say something, but because she's a white woman, she's not allowed to even get into the conversation, especially as a representative of CNN. What a trash fire of a situation this is. Holy crap. And she's not even the most feminine person on the panel. That goes to Don Lemon. So she's just fucked.
Yeah, he's taken more dicks than her for sure.
Yes, he has.
For the Civil War.
It is a
that's
fact.
reductive.
It's not
and
reductive,
I think it's
Don.
insulting. There are a whole plethora of reasons that for the Civil War.
With due respect, I find your explanation reductive and actually insulting, including to black Americans, to say that black people today, compared to 1964, 1865, haven't made progress in part because of the freedoms we secured. And the Second Amendment was part of what secured
hang on,
that
please.
freedom.
I cannot keep a thought if you guys are talking to me in my ear. So hang on one second. So to say that black people, say what you said again.
You're getting destroyed.
Black people secured their freedoms after the Civil War. It is a historical fact, Don. Just study it. Only after their Second Amendment rights were secured.
They
That's
were
a
not
fact.
secured their freedoms after the Civil War. That is not, you are discounting Reconstruction. You're discounting a whole host of things that happened after the Civil War when it comes to African Americans, including the whole reason that the Civil Rights Movement happened is because black people did not secure their freedoms after the Civil War, and that things turned around. People tried to change the freedoms that were supposed to
And you know how they got it?
War
They got their Second Amendment rights, and they actually got the NRA played a big role in that. But today, Don, the
NRA did not play a big role in that.
They trained black Americans how to use firearms.
That's a lie. That's not. The NRA did not play a big role.
This is just historical fact. But
Don, not historical fact.
The part that I find,
because you say it's historical fact,
the part that I find insulting is when you say today black Americans don't have those rights after we have gone through civil rights revolution in this country.
You are sitting here telling an African American about the rights and what you find insulting about the way I live, the skin I live in every day.
Here's where you and I have a different point of view.
The skin you live in. This, oh my God! Like, this is the guy who was who was all for jab mandates and mask mandates, and then went to Florida with his boyfriend. When they were basically saying Florida was the most dangerous place on the planet, and Ron DeSantis was literally killing people, and then him and his boyfriend were down here vacationing, maskless. By the way, I'm pretty sure they were maskless, right? In that picture,
100%.
Yeah, they didn't have masks on.
And you know why they were maskless? You know why?
Why?
Because they truly didn't believe.
Yeah, 100% they didn't believe.
They truly didn't believe, because if they truly believed in it, they would have had masks on and they wouldn't have come to Florida. But that was proof positive that they just didn't believe it. They didn't believe it. If you truly were scared of it, you're not doing those things.
That is true. You're 100% right. This just goes on a little bit more. We'll let this last bit play out, and then we'll talk.
In white that black people don't have in this country, and that black people do have.
Well, here's where you and I have a different point of view. I think we should be able to express our views regardless of the color of our skin. We should have this debate.
I'm not saying you
without me regarding you as a black man.
You literally said you can't sit there and talk to him as a black man, and now you're saying I didn't say you can't express your views.
But me regarding you as a fellow citizen.
That you're sitting here, whatever ethnicity you are, explaining to me.
Whatever ethnicity I'm,
what it's like to be black.
Whatever ethnicity I'll tell you what I am. I'm an Indian American. I'm proud of it. But I think we should have this debate. Black, white, doesn't matter.
I think we should have this
on
debate.
The content of the ideas.
If you're going to do it, you should do it in an honest way and in a fair way. And what you're doing is not an honest and fair way.
That was
so funny to watch that.
I really fucking hate when people say, well, you can't be part of this conversation because you're not black. For someone to talk about the Civil War, for someone to talk about the Civil Rights era, you don't have to be black. Guess what? Just because you're black doesn't mean you know anything. Doesn't mean you have any fucking idea about what happened. Doesn't mean you know anything about what happened during the Civil War, during the Civil Rights era. It means fucking nothing. just because maybe you sat there and maybe your grandpa told you, oh man, this shit really sucked, and you think you have an idea about what's going on more than someone who's studied it, someone who's done research, someone who's talked to people about it. No, you don't have any more right to have that conversation just because of the color of your skin.
Agreed. And it's such a dismissive thing because as he brought up being Indian American, it's like, do you really want to sit there and do you really want to, Don Lemon, do you really want to talk about who's been more oppressed and mistreated? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's a nonsensical stance to have, period. At the end of the day, if you want to have good, honest conversations with people, race, gender, skin color, none of that shit should have a defining characteristic of, are you going to have a conversation with someone? And Don Lemon using that just showed he was coming from a weak position to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don Lemon, never speak out about straight people's issues. Never speak out about white people's issues. Shut your fucking mouth unless you're talking about gay black shit. How about that?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I
wish he would have said that. I wish he would have said, well, then you can't speak on these other matters that you speak about every day. And you speak about the plight of people, and you've had conversations about reparations and this and that. You don't live in that world, Don. So how could you even remotely speak on those matters? You can't. But he does. Yet he does. And the one thing I can't stand about people like Don is that they have to perpetuate this victimhood, because if they don't have anything else to speak about. That's their goal. That's their champion. That's their crutch. That's what they hold on to. Admitting that there is a level playing field, admitting that there's equal opportunity. Here he is in 2023 trying to tell a highly educated grown man that in some ways we are worse off than 1964. I mean, like, who is believing that? Who is believing that? And people of color in this country are somehow worse off than, like, decades ago, centuries. Like, come on. I mean, to me, that is the biggest disservice you can do. He knows that, but he can't agree with it. He can't possibly agree with it, because then it just destroys his whole argument. And, and I'm glad he said, hey, listen, we're talking as two human beings here, man to man, because we all know that if they had someone on the left, some anti-gun, maybe, white guy, old white guy that was on there, Don would have had no problem with him having this conversation about the Civil War and all this stuff, because it's someone he is now aligning with on the narrative. He would have had no issues. He would have not said to that person, hey, oh, by the way, you can't talk about this because you don't have, no, he would have had no problem with that guy talking about it. I've been to the NRA convention for I don't know how many years, and what he said in his speech was simply, Civil War was fought for rights. Now, once that was won, then there was a process to acquire other rights, okay? And that is 100% fact. The fact that Don Lemon was trying to dispute that just shows you, one, he doesn't know the history. Two, he's just refusing to accept the fact of what the actual fight was. It's not like after the Civil War, people of color just had full run and they had everything they wanted. They could do anything they want. That's simply not true. So he was right in saying that, the Second Amendment was one of many things they had to continue to fight for. That's a fact. And there's nothing that Don can contest about that. He's trying to make it, you're trying to, use this as a something that for people of color. It's disgusting. And obviously his argument breaks down when he starts just backing away, saying, oh, well, listen, we can't talk about this because you're not black. Yep, that's exactly. That's when you know he was done. He was getting killed by the facts.
Absolutely. And it's so funny. It's so funny when people back down to it. It's obvious. It's obvious when people do that they're being destroyed. Look at this real quick. I just saw this. Joe Biden. My God. What the fuck? Biden, I'm standing there waiting. Carrie, I thought you were kidding. I'm sorry. Anyway, all right, here we go.
Great to see you, man. What? I'm sorry, you're kidding. I'm sorry. Well, not you. Anyway, all right.
Jesus Christ.
God, he walks so old.
It's so painful. Again, the reason I play this one more time.
Great to see you, man. What? I'm sorry, you're kidding. I'm sorry. Look at you. Anyway, all right.
This is like a joke. This is Weekend at Bernie's.
The reason I play that, compare that to this right here. This is so good. And again, Ryan, you got to get me more into UFC, dude, because the fact that Dana White's so fucking based.
The crowd.
Oh yeah, man.
Feel it. And you hear everybody taking out their phones, and then all of a sudden, eruption.
It was nuts.
Because this guy named Donald Trump walked in. 21,000 phones were lifted. Everybody's got their cameras on, shaking hands. People are trying to spot. Is that Mel Gibson that just shook his hand?
Yeah.
That's Mike Tyson sitting next to him. Of course, Dana White, and, he always speaks very highly of him because of how Trump helped him out at the beginning. And, Masvidal gives a speech. Literally, the place is going crazy. We're right back there, by the way, in that video. So the place is going absolutely bonkers, right? Masvidal then starts fighting Burns. In the middle of the fight, camera goes on him. No one's watching the fight.
Nobody cares anymore.
Everybody. So the part becomes, now here's what the conversation becomes. Either 100% of UFC viewers are Republicans, or this guy has an energy about himself when he walks in that he's able to convert, and magnetic energy. I even looked at Adam for a second, and Adam was in tears. Adam,
do you know what?
Adam was.
Can you tell the truth? Pat, you know what Adam said?
By the way, if you want me to tell the truth, I'll tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Yeah. Adam says, I'm not gonna lie to you. You know how I feel about Trump? I just went from here to here.
Yes, it was cool.
Very weird feeling, right?
It was actually cool shit.
But you know what?
You got Biden's walk is so painful. It looks like he's got to take a shit every time he walks.
It doesn't look like that. No, it looks like your old grandparent who's worried about falling. And has to shuffle around. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, and it's just the difference in Trump versus him is crazy. Go ahead, Suresh.
I was at the UFC fight when Trump showed up. It was a few UFC fights ago. This was the most recent one, and it was the same thing. The place exploded. It was like everything stopped, and I've never been to a sporting event of any kind that one person walked in and the entire arena came to a halt, and every phone, everything was trained on one person. I've never seen that happen in my life. I saw it happen. I was there. I was just a few feet away from Trump when he came in. I was because Dana had gotten us our seats, so we obviously had good seats close. And then Trump walks in, and the place just like lost it. It was insane. It was actually there was a bigger response to him walking in than any fighter walking to the octagon that night. So, you look at that and you say to yourself, it just simply doesn't make sense that the other guy got 81 million votes. It's just not adding up, because we all know. I mean, I know some people are like, oh, whatever, it's not nice, it's not kind. We all know if Joe Biden walked into that same arena, we all know what would have happened. We all know the chant that would have broke out. We all know. And so, to me, that says it all. But yeah, he has that infectious, that like he doesn't even need to say anything. He just walks into an arena like that, and it completely changes the energy of the entire building.
I remember when he came to a college football national championship game years ago, and it was the same thing. It was just like, it was crazy how loud the cheers were. And again, to Patrick's point, are 100% of UFC fans just Republicans? No. I obviously I think they definitely lean, though. There's definitely definitely more of a conservative audience for sure.
Well, it's also predominantly male.
Yeah.
And men do favor Republicans and Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Not like by 5-1 or something, but that's just how all of these exit polls, doesn't matter what fucking election it is. I think somewhere on like 55% of men voted for Trump and like 40% voted for Biden. something like that. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I do think there's a lot of, I think there's far less woke lunatics that are fans of UFC.
Yeah.
So people who, like, even if they're not massive Trump fans, they're still going to think it's awesome to see Trump and get excited about that, as opposed to people who will fucking screech and moan about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that difference between Biden and him. It just is such a wide. It's just such a wide gap. And I personally still do not think he's going to run. I don't think Biden will run. I'm going to stick by that one right now. That's going to be my Mario $1 billion prediction right now. I don't think Joe Biden will actually run for the Democratic nominee. I think that it will be Gavin Newsom. I think Gavin Newsom.
I gotta say, I think, and I'll put a friendly wager, but I think you're dead wrong. I think they will wheel him out in a wheelchair with a blanket over his lap, drooling, and someone next to him with a water bottle and a straw coming out of it, putting water in his mouth. They will wheel him out, and that is what people will vote for. At 1,000%, 1,000, and he'll win. He'll win. That is how insane it is right now. That's the point we're at right now. Wheelchair, blanket across his lap, drooling. He'll win.
It's scary. It is scary that that's actually possible, and I do think it's possible. Unfortunately, Ryan, what do you think?
I think he will run. Because it's clear that Gavin's testing the waters, I guess, but I don't know. It would be very embarrassing for them not to run Biden and to throw away that incumbent inherent advantage. But obviously, we saw it, depending on how the counting goes, depending on how the election goes, sometimes the incumbent advantage isn't necessarily an advantage. So it would be I think it would be a really bad look for them, for the Democrats, to have Biden not run. But at the same time, he's old as shit. So, but if you were to not run, then you would run Kamala. But if you're not going to run either of them, that's like a massive admission that something is fucked up.
No, they'll never run Kamala. No,
exactly.
No way. No,
because they know she can't win.
Yeah, they got to put someone old and white in there. The person they hate, the people they hate, old rich white
it'll
guys.
Definitely be a straight white man.
Yes, probably old. Yeah, but unless it's Newsom. But no, they already got their.
They got lucky when they put up a gay half black man and he won twice. That's not going to happen again. So.
We will see. Maybe Big Michael run. Maybe Big Michael run. What do you think about that one,
Michelle? Well, let's get another man in the office.
I'll be your Huckleberry for $2. Says she gonna fall again. I guess we got to play it now. I mean, Steph's not here to laugh at it, but it is a great clip, so why not play it? Here we go.
She's gonna fall again.
Damn. It never gets old. It really doesn't. East Coast Toasty Boy. I heard Trump got a Bush advisor on his team too. I'm sure he did. I'm sure I think there's a former Bush advisor. It's not Karl Rove though. Having the rumors that Karl Rove is involved with DeSantis, you already got Jeb Bush, and he said George H.W. Bush is his hero. Fuck Karl Rove. Fuck Karl Rove. Piece of shit. Chef Nick Nero. IRS says I owe them $1,500. I said get it from Ukraine. Mike has bad knees. DeSantis is not going to step aside if he thinks he can win. That's not how politicians work. I hear you on that. And again, that's fine. But when you're going up against Trump, I think it's career suicide, personally. Lying Dogface Pony Soldier gifting a D-Day Cobra membership. Thank you. Binary Bard says there are a lot of interesting people in the hacker community. I've seen pictures from DEF CON that looked like the waiting room from Beetlejuice. Kizzy says, of all people, why Matt Walsh? Matt Walsh is definitely one of the major public enemies for the trans community. I would say would you say he's the top enemy of the trans community in a lot of ways?
Other than J.K. Rowling, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Other than J.K. Rowling. That's true.
But
yeah.
Matt Walsh goes a lot harder.
Yeah, he does. He goes a lot harder. So yeah, I would say that's why. That's exactly why he's being targeted. Beach Lover says, I'm from Germany. What does I would DM him mean? What does quote I would quote DM him mean? What is that in reference to?
Me?
I don't know. It's the super chat says, I'm from Germany. What does I would DM him mean?
Oh,
I would direct message
I don't know
him.
if you know what DM
No. Is that
direct message?
no?
Maybe he
Direct
doesn't know
message.
what a DM mean.
Okay, I don't know I'm talking about. What is it in reference to? Because I know there was something about Matt Walsh's DMs. Did you say that you would DM people? Is that what you were saying, Ryan?
That's what I said. If I had access to that, I would start messaging people and try to make Matt Walsh look very bad to prominent influencers and prominent other people in the political space.
So what he means. So I understand the question about the DM, but I was trying to understand the further context of it. So DM means direct message. When Ryan was saying that, he was saying direct message on Twitter. So essentially, it's the same thing as a text message. It's just using Twitter or another social media's own infrastructure to private message someone. So that's what that means. Jay Soggy Taint for $1.99, who I saw Drunk 3PO in the chat, says, Mug Club member here, have Dave on FNT again soon. I'm sure we'll make that happen.
Even Quarterblack actually just announced they're doing something with Blaze. They're doing like their comedy sketch thing.
Nice. All right, good stuff.
Very nice.
MK Solid says, Dom Lemon, I probably meant Don Lemon, lives in Sagamore, all white, right near Teddy Roosevelt's home. I mean, we all know Don Lemon's whiter than anybody on this show right now. Me and Ryan, he's super white. He probably would give the Batman a 7 out of 10. Don Lemon would.
That's
I
right.
probably liked him more than he did.
So yeah.
Right.
Beach Lover, second question. Why is direct messaging a weapon? Direct messaging in terms of finding some of his messages that he's been sharing privately with other people that could be damaging if they were released publicly. That's what the whole point would be. Or if you are in his account and you're direct messaging other people as him to try to say something to these people and create a false conversation, that's the whole point behind that. So, Peter Frazee says, Vivek, is it Vivek? I can't even.
I think it's Vivek.
Vivek, I believe, is either first gen or second generation immigrant. I think he's got a lot of potential to make some waves. Mark Alcatraz, new member or a member message. Do you think Biden will try to weasel out of the debates with Trump if he does run? I don't think Biden knows where he's at, but I think the people behind it will want him to weasel out of it for sure. I don't think Biden's making any decisions whatsoever in any capacity right now. I think other people are making decisions and they just point and tell him where to go and they give him a little paper to read from. East Coast Toast Boy says Don Lemon loves pants. Hang on. What? East Coast Toast Boy says Don Lemon. It's D-O-N-E. So you said Don Lemon loves pant snakes in his lemon trousers. Let's see. Darth Gavel. Emperor Newsom's election will be the death of America. The left needs a couple of more elections before they crown him the God Emperor of mankind. If we make it that far. Let's see. Jester says, I miss Rush. Would love to hear his take right now. Rush Limbaugh, rest in peace. A legend. Jeremy's Southern accent's really coming through right now. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about, man? I ain't got no Southern accent. I ain't got no sister I sleep with. I'm just going out and getting some beer. Gonna watch some NASCAR. We're gonna talk about Dale Earnhardt. I don't know what you're talking about, though. I don't have a Southern accent at all. All right, so we're at the hour point in time. I'm sorry for the rushed episode, but a lot's going on right now. We're getting ready for the Vegas trip. RSVPs are completely sold out for Vegas, so we have no more room in Vegas. I'm going to be doing a lot that week. We're going to be doing our shows. I have the Airbnb. We're going to have a special studio show Tuesday night for Tuesday night's main event. Ryan already got that set up. We're going to be in a special studio for Friday Night Tights. Then we have the meetup on Wednesday, and then we'll have some stuff going on for Park Hopping on Thursday. It's going to be a wild week for us. We have Geeks and Gamers Daily going on Monday through Friday. We're going to do that Monday through Friday. It may be in some different locations, but you're still going to see us Monday through Friday, Geeks and Gamers Daily. Don't worry. Tuesday night main event will happen. The gaming streams is not going to happen because obviously we won't have the capacity to do those. But what do you got going on, Suresh?
Oh, same old. Trying to keep up with everything going on in this world with 221B Tactical. And obviously we got some stuff coming out for spring, which is cool and exciting. And just want to keep, growing the channel. You guys have helped grow not only 221B, but over at the situation with Suresh, which has been amazing. So thank you for that. And I know we're gonna be seeing each other in person pretty soon. So I'm excited for that as always, because things always get interesting and fun when we actually can get into the same room and put our heads together. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's right. And again, be on the lookout for that 221B merch.
I have an update. They did my plan, but I would have done not this. The hacker sent a DM to Joe Rogan. Hey, Joe, you a hoe ass N-word on my mama. Needless to say, I was hacked.
Oh my God.
Holy shit. So there you go.
But again, I would have not have done that. I would have done something that actually was believable as me to cause like infighting.
That's what you have to do. You have to make it believable, because then when you try to deny it, people are like, no, that kind of seemed legit.
Well, that goes to the point that Suresh and Ryan were talking about earlier about like take a serious approach. Like, hey, Joe, whatever, say something that can be misconstrued as like, wait, are you serious? So anyway, it is what it is. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate all of you. Go subscribe to Patriot Outpost. Will be over there next week, possibly. Next week's will be crazy. Actually, that's on a Thursday, so I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. There's too much going on next week with Vegas, so I'll keep you guys posted. But go subscribe to The Situation with Suresh, who's crushing it right now on all of his social media, and really do appreciate him as always. Merch, 199 merch. Look at all those 199, Suresh. Like, look at all
Jeremy.
that.
I'm waiting.
So,
I'm waiting.
199. They're just representing. I know.
I'm waiting.
So
give the people what they want.
The people want it. We got to give it to them.
Give it
All
to
right,
them.
guys. Thank you so much. Look at everybody in the chat right now. I love it. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great night, and we will talk to all of you later. Good night, everyone.